And don't leave after they've both spoken. We have, you all got a blue ticket. If you didn't get a blue ticket and you want a chance to have this timer and sensor, and Larry tells me it's worth like a couple $100, and you just have to have it installed, and it's Wi-Fi, it's super duper, it does everything that you don't know how to do. And then we have seven plants that Larry has grown here in the nursery. And those plants are being used in the landscape areas that we're redoing. So Larry.
So my name is Larry Fossan. I'm the landscape supervisor or manager here. Also, I'm the facilities manager. It's kind of interesting. I've been here almost 4 years, and I kind of feel like I've been here 20. The place has a tendency to grow on you. Patrick, thank you so much for the compliment on the front landscape. It's been a labor of love for everyone here and our residents too. Excuse me, been a long time. I have a number of nicknames here. When I first started, I was called Larry Waterwise. When I got promoted, they called me Lord Larry. And recently, because of all my television and articles, I'm now called Hollywood Larry. So my green room has Bud Light and peanut butter, so you're all invited to come. Anyway, let's talk about our home. As we all know, I sat on the NITRAC board for the Southern Nevada Water Authority. I was one of those 9 people that had to make that hard decision on what we have to do here and with all the other communities in the neighborhood. So our first project is going to be the East Lawn Improvement Project, and I'm going to kind of, hopefully this will work. This is the East Lawn. It's on Anthem Parkway. It's about 53,000 square feet of grass. During the summer months, I can burn through 1 million gallons of water a month trying to keep that grass green. That's enough water. I think the average home is about, Patrick, I think it's about just under an acre-foot of water a home uses a year. And so literally, in 1 month, I can burn through what 3 homes would use in a year. So it makes sense. So why the East Lawn is considered non-functional turf? It doesn't have a timed event on it. It's actually not usable because of the slope. It has a slope that's more than 25 degrees. Timed events would be like on our north lawn, where we use for movie nights, music nights, things like that. So the East Lawn is actually considered non-functional turf. The only people that are mostly on it are on some of the lower flat areas by independents, but everything else is all done by lawnmowers. In fact, Brightview had to design a mower that had special weights on it because it was such a steep slope, we couldn't put a normal mower on it. So there was actually some engineering just on the equipment we used to mow it. So this is a picture of the East Lawn, and this gives you an idea of the slopes that you see through there and why it's such a problem. The only time I've ever seen people on that was when it snowed here and people were actually tobogganing down on the slopes. And we had to stop them because people were actually coming out into the road on Alexandria. Yeah, so to give you an idea of some of the things we've made, since I've been here, we've installed smart controllers. We have 31 smart controllers. I have 28 weather stations. This controller is a smart controller with a weather station that you can put in your home. So this controller, when programmed, will actually turn your irrigation off when it rains. If it's freezing, it'll take care of it. You can actually, once you program your soil types and plants, it will automatically adjust your watering times for you. That's what I have now, which is really great, because when I started here, I was driving 21 miles a day, spending 4 hours a day, turning every controller for the right measurements for the rain that we had. But I had to prove to management that we could actually do this, and we'll get into that a little later. So the East Lawn project starts in 3 weeks. It's going to be a massive construction job. You're all welcome to come and we'll give you tours if you'd like to see what we're doing, but you won't be allowed on the site because of the construction and equipment. So this is functional turf. And why? It's because it has a timed event. This is an area that we play on, that we have movie nights on. And we actually, if you can kind of look over here on the corner, you can see a new stage that we developed so that we can now move our sound stage and electronics up so that now we can actually hear what the audience is hearing. So we've made some major improvements there. This type of landscaping you see here and this landscaping here will all be removed. Partly because on the new restaurant that we're doing, they're putting in a gas line in to put a fire pit over in here, and so this turf, this grass area, or this shrubbery will be removed, and we'll move this all into a desert-type landscaping all around the north lawn. But that's the reason why it's considered functional turf. And it's really been hard for a lot of our residents to try to understand why we have to remove grass. And when you start, later on in our presentation, when you start seeing our water and what we've done with it, it'll make you guys take a different change. So this is the construction drawing of the east lawn. This is just part of it. Now, this is where everyone starts getting a little upset. These are trees that we're going to be removing. And part of the reason we're removing these trees is they will not survive the transition that we're going to have to go under because of that. And most of these trees are Texas tan ash, and they have sooty canker, and they're on the slow decline already. So we're going to remove all these trees through here. We have a total of 56. Now, we have a licensed arborist that's going to be working with us. We have staff from the Facilities and Landscape Committee people that will be working. It's just not my decision on what we're going to save and why we're going to save it. This design was done by a company called SMP out of California, but they have offices here in Nevada. They are one of the most renowned landscape architect companies. They do work for Howard Hughes, Del Webb, and some other people. So we've signed a contract with them to do this design. And we have a limit of work. So this is the construction legend of the same thing. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to open up the front of the area so that you'll be able to see this as you drive up with our monument sign. This will be some retaining walls that we'll be installing that will give us the focal point to put our trees in and plant material, and then we'll light all of this because this is the area that's on the side where the fitness running track is at. So just to think, we didn't think about just what we're doing here. We're actually inside the building looking out so that as we walk through this area, we'll make sure every window, the landscape will be pleasant on that side because most people look at what you see. We're actually looking at what we're doing. In fact, in the villas and the design that we're working on them, we actually took the model homes where the windows were so that when we put the landscaping in, people as they walk through their window would see the landscaping. And if you noticed on Patriot Park, a lot of the trees that are in that landscaping right there, which is on Hampton Road, they put trees right in front of people's windows so they can't look out and see the mountains. So design is incorporating just more than what you see inside, it's also outside. So this project will start in about 3 weeks. We will be done in less than 90 days, and then we'll move on to Hampton Road, and then I'll move on to DePinto. So this is an interesting project, the Landscape and Facilities Committee, which were composed of volunteers with Bruce Stanley and Jackie Carroll and a number of other people that are here today. This is one of the areas on our landscape. This is actually the area by R3, and we're going to be installing small signs to identify each plant so that our residents will know what we have and they'll be able to purchase that or be able to add it to their house. To give you an idea of what we did in front, that it saved me about 850,000 gallons a year, just under, about 850,000 gallons. The cycle times went from 42 times a week, because somebody had to mow the grass, to 4 times a year. So we've already seen a savings in our maintenance costs just on that. This is just another picture right here of where we're going to be placing the Delaware Room, Main Entrance, Computer Club, Green Room, and Fitness Center will all have signs so that residents can actually see what we planted and identify with it. One of the interesting things that's happened is we've noticed last year I had 25 monarch butterflies here. Monarchs were almost not in Nevada at all. So we're really excited come spring to see how many of those are going to return because they are migratory. And we had thousands of butterflies, hummingbirds this year too all. So our landscaping changed, but what you can get and see is even more important. We actually took the boulders that you see. Most people don't realize those are a very special boulder that haven't been mined in Nevada for 30 years. So those boulders that you see in our front landscape, we asked some friends that I know to open a boulder place and mine them for us, and we got those. And we made them so that they're flat so that you people can sit on them in some of our landscapes to enjoy the plant material. Because landscaping is supposed to be interactive. It's not something you see driving down the road at 45 miles an hour. It's something that you've got to touch and feel and enjoy. So we're going to be, that's how it'll be ongoing. Those should be in this week. Now, the next part of this is kind of interesting. Most of you will have never seen this before. This is some of our water management. What most people don't realize is that when I was very young, long time ago, I built 22 golf courses working for the Toro Corporation. My job was to design pump stations and irrigation systems. So Patrick is correct when he says they are the best water management people in the world. So it was really interesting. When I came here, I thought I was going to be supervising the golf course, which panics the heck out of me. But I've worked a relationship with Bill Kimke and his staff. So we talk about water management, we talk about grass, and I talk about plants and trees with them because that's their weakness. So it's a resource that we all use. I have 28 weather stations that are out there, these that are out in the field. And I'm able to, every 15 seconds, read the weather. I got the rainfall that comes through. And I'm able to ping off the golf course one, too. And he's able to ping off mine. So it's pretty cool. So this is really an interesting number. You can look, this is the 10-year. This is actually done by the city of Henderson for me. And you can see down here, 2010, we were using 894 million, yeah, almost, yeah, and then we're at 92, 95, 97, here 95, 106, 87, and then look at here, 100,989,000,000 gallons of water a year. I started right there, and it went right there, and then went right here. So my first year here, we decreased our water use by 29.7 million gallons of water, and we didn't take out any grass. Now, I know the Southern Nevada Water Authority sometimes, you know, but you have to understand that water management is an art. It's not something that you just pick up in a book. It's years and years and years of learning. And there's only probably two what I would consider really good water management people in Nevada. One of them is Tom Radin with Par 3, and I talk to him daily because he and I compare notes. But this shows you, just by water management, what can happen. Next slide. This is as of December 20. So the first dotted line you'll see is the common areas here for 2018. I keep forgetting I have to walk in front of it. I'm sorry, people. And then you'll see the next year, and then the next year, and you'll see how we started to kind of get control of what we're doing. This got out of control one year. There was an issue set that was in September. That was one of the hottest Septembers I've ever had, and we couldn't go to 3 days a week. I just couldn't. I was losing grass, so we had to stiff it. But you can see how we peaked, and then how this went, and now how our down is going. So we're learning our industry, our grounds. We have 140 acres here, 800 valves, 70 controllers, and 64 water meters. And every one of those is checked every month. We just finished something really interesting. We did our bee protection program. We just finished last month. We have 800 valve boxes that were homes for bees. My first year here, and sadly, I had to kill 24 hives, which just tore me apart. So we now have bee-proofed them, and our bee population is now in the aurora areas where they need to be. And this year, I have not destroyed one. So our bee population is growing, which means our plants and everything else will be healthier. So this is what I get on my report. So this is kind of interesting. This will show you how we water manage. July 2021, here's where I'm at, and go over to July 2022. You can see the line, how much better we've gotten better at our water management. This is High Mesa. It's all grass, okay? But it doesn't mean the grass still has to come out. But what we're trying to show is that water management, whether it's shrubs, trees, or grass, has to be managed. So this is how a graph should look. Nice and like that, and then start to gradually come up. This year, when it comes to July, we should be about right in here. And what everyone doesn't realize about water, it's not what I put on today. It's not what I put on yesterday. It's what I put on last week, because it takes time to sink into the roots. So we're in the middle of August, I'll start turning my water down. Everybody thinks we're crazy. No, because I already got 3 weeks of water in there. So why am I wasting the water by trying to keep filling the area around the trees? So in the middle of August, we'll start lowering our water 10%, 15%, 20% to get into September. These are just some real quick things to kind of show you. Here's Clubhouse, a villa. Oops. Here is 2018. And then here is 2019 as we're learning. And there's just some older ones. Here's another one. Same thing. We use the villas because it was a really dramatic, and then I'll show you some of the common areas. But you can see how our areas peaked and I know how we reduced. This is another one. This is Mountain View. And the last one is Pinnacle. And Pinnacle had a dramatic drop because at Pinnacle we found 2,200 emitters that had no plants to them. They were just watering away with no one there. When I first started here, I spent 3 months. I walked 2,500 miles my first year. I am now at a little over 10,000 miles, and I'm on officially my 19th pair of work boots. So I know this area pretty well. Now this last one, this is our common areas, okay? So you can see 2018 and then 2019 and then facilities, how we're actually monitoring our water better. We actually got our facilities water right through here nice and level now. On our new bathrooms were installed, we put in low flow. We have added flow meters and things to our pool. We took our waterfall, which everyone knows where it's at. We spent about $100,000 there, and we completely redesigned it. We made it smaller. We took away the ponds. So our water usage there went from about 80,000 gallons to right around 42. And our water evaporation, as Patrick knows, when you toss water up in the air in the middle of summer, it disappears. So we've lowered the flow so that we don't have that splash. And my water consumption in the middle of summer for that is 500 gallons a day, which is very minimal to the 12 or 1,400 I was using during the summer. So a lot of things go into water management, and we wanted to keep the water feature. This is a really interesting graph because what this is going to show you all the water that the neighborhoods have saved for almost 3 years. So here's the first one is your neighborhoods. Here was there, and look how we 27, 26, 23. We're getting better at our water management. Think about it, shaded areas. I have a lot of them. Why do I water? Can I go to 4 days a week? Yes, I can. I don't need to water 6 days a week for areas that are in the shade. We learned our landscaping. So the villas, 40 million gallons of water. We go to the common area, 55 million gallons of water. Let's go to facilities. We save 12 million gallons of water. That's huge for us with our traffic and pools and everything we have. And since 2018 up to 2021, we saved 107 million gallons of water. That's enough water to put in a football field, and above you would be 300 foot of water. Or better yet, I got 140 acres here. Where you're sitting right now, you have water up to right here, as far as you could see. So that gives you an idea of how much water we saved as a community, and we're still working more on it. But that's a little bit about your home and what we're doing. It's been a long day for everyone, but we're willing to answer questions at this time. I don't think you had anything else on there.
Larry, can I say something about that graph?
Yes.
So, yes, you see the water use go down. But what's happening also, I'm sorry. So what's happening
I don't know how to get back
as you
to it.
see the water use go down, you're getting healthier plants too.
Yes.
So when you're just putting a deluge of water on turf or grass or plants or whatever that is, that plant has no other reason to grow deep roots or do anything because he's fat and happy on the top, right? I mean, why? So as you see these improve, the health of the plant improves because it's getting deeper rooted. It can take those stresses. When you start to reduce the water in August, that plant is set up and ready to go. Bring it on. I've got deep roots. I know where the water is. So there's a benefit to all that, and managing water is the key.
And one thing I forgot to tell everyone is that we instituted a plant management program. About 2 years ago. So he's right, Patrick's right, we lowered the water, but we wanted to stress our plants a little bit so they go look for water. And by doing that, they don't stress as much in the summer months, and I was able to cut water. When I came here, we were watering 6 days a week for lawn and 6 days a week for drip in the summer. Right now, we are watering the front area out here 2 days a week. I'm watering the lawn areas 5 days a week, and the common areas are being watered 4 days a week. So just by that, it saved us a huge amount of money because we're actually thinking about what our plant material is. And my north exposures, why am I watering them hardly at all? Because they don't hardly see any sun. So it's the shaded areas at the villas, even some shaded areas that we have around here, I will cut the water usage down to protect that.
You guys can't leave. We're going to take 2 questions, okay? And then we're going to do the drawing because we're just about out of time. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, apologize for
My
that.
first area of questions deals with some of the information Patrick gave us. And I had done some research on the Colorado River Compact that, as you said, originated in 1922. And I had looked at the distribution of the allocations to the 7 states that get the allocations. And I'm not sure when the most recent questioning, review of the Colorado River, but I do come up with the same number you had, that the state of Nevada is allocated 2% of the usage of the Colorado River. And the state of California, for example, has 27%. Yes, my question is this fold, that we've seen a depopulation in the state of California, and we've witnessed extreme growth of population here in the Nevada. From the years 2020 to 2022, California went down 0.5% of the 39 million people they had. Nevada, for the same years, had a 1.05% increase. California, my question is, who's reviewing this water allocation usage, and why is it not getting more allocation as the states grow and as the states depopulate? That's my question.
That's good.
I want you to think about that, because, we get this question a lot, and that's a great question, is, why don't we shuffle the deck again and kind of redistribute that water? And think about this and our current state of affairs with our federal government and different things, but you'd have to get 7 state legislatures in a foreign country to agree to sit down at a table and reshuffle the deck, right? Then, let's say they do all that, then they go to Congress. Now you got to get Congress to agree to do that, and so it's easier to, and it makes a lot of sense to do things like that, but it's easier to work, at the negotiation table and to talk and stay out of kind of the legal wrangling of all that. So that's why we don't do it. We keep an eye on all that stuff, but it's just easier to negotiate, and you can imagine why.
I'd like to know why Mexico gets 9%.
Okay, we'll have the other question here.
Okay, I'll tell you afterwards.
This is for Larry. Larry, I'm more concerned with percentages than absolute numbers. So looking at the great job you've done in the last 2 years, how much further as a percentage of what we're presently using can you dream of reducing our current usage to the maximum amount? How much further do you think you can reasonably go?
Well, that's going to be 2 things. I pulled about every tool I have out of the toolbox right now. I literally have. I'm down to a screwdriver and a hammer. I don't think without some major landscape changes in our environment, and part of it will be the East Lawn. That's going to save us a ton of water. Hampton Road will save us a ton of water, DePinto and such. So as we move through and change our landscape into the more of the, I don't call it xeriscape. I call it working in harmony with Mother Nature. We live in a desert here. This is our home. We didn't come here because of the wonderful rainfall and the wonderful heat we have here. We came here because economically it made sense to each and every one of us here to retire. As you can see, we started out at 102 million gallons a year, and in 4 years we're down to 59. So we've had almost a 50% reduction, which is huge. And so I don't know if I can give you a real number, but my guess is I can probably shave another 20% off as we move through. Now, once again, water rates change, tiers change, but for the overall part, when I came to work here, I told them I thought we could get down to 50% or reasonably, but we'd have to start making some major landscape changes. And those changes are going to affect us in maintenance because I don't have to pay the contractor as much. And so those will help too, because labor went up, inflation's running 9%. But yeah, I think I could probably get another 20% once. And the board has been very responsive in their requests for funds to move forward on this. So yeah, you're welcome.
Larry, why don't you draw a ticket, and we'll have that winner.
Do you remember who gave me that $30? What was their number? I have 858069. 858069. 69.
Okay, come on up. And we have 7 plants that our gardener has planted and are growing. And they're babies, they're pups from the ones that we have, and they're going to get planted in your yard. So come on over here. Here, this is yours.